Okay, so this is also a very useful project. It's, for lack of a better name, we are calling it user information collection. It could be used in multiple areas, right? When you make an application, a product, you often want to know about your user, right? It could be, or you could be a insurance company, you could be a fintech company giving loans, or you could be a company like Godspeed who wants to know which users have onboarded. You want to know more about them so that you can personalize their experience, right? Or it could even be, let's say, a workflow which is to be run, and the workflow requires user to give inputs. For example, I want to deploy my service. Then the user is taken through questions. Is it a development deployment, production deployment you want to do, or is it and then going further, what's the kind of scalability you want, what's the kind of fault tolerance you want, so on and so forth. No, so this is information we collect from the user, either to get to know about them or to do a job on their behalf, right? So hence we are just calling it information collection system, okay, or an agent. So what it will do, it will be an API plus also a chat, okay. Ideally it is to be developed within Godspeed framework, needless to say that, but it could use components from outside like Python if you really need to use that Python based components. And it will have two pieces. The first piece is a data sorry, an admin view. Admin is able to configure the questions for any workflow, what kind of questions I want to ask the user, okay. And with the question, he will also give a schema. It has to be schema driven. He will give a schema of all choices to show. Choices could be of various kinds, drop downs, check boxes, default values, is null allowed or not, is it optional, required, and stuff like this, right? So how can a user give input? The schema of that answers is also there. And this basically is backed by a generic and a standardized database and a tables where these questions along with the schemas are stored, okay, for different workflows. And when a user comes, right, when you start this journey, any information collection for any workflow, then you have a chat interface where the agent chats with the user and he's opening up forms. Imagine an agent chat on the left and agent is opening forms on the right based on your schema. You could use something like React Material UI schema. Okay, there's an open source project, React Material UI's JSON schema based generator. You could use such a project to dynamically render those forms based on very personalized user flow in that moment, right? Because user may want to go here and there, and your job is to collect answer to 10 questions, right? You don't have to be very hard, rigid. I will go from question 1 to 2 to 3. Let the chat also somewhat, determine how the questions are asked, and you are able to ask all the questions of that workflow and save the answers in the database. As simple as that, right? So somebody could actually use your solution consuming just APIs. Correct, you are the UI is a proof of concept you're developing, right? But what will be most important is consuming your APIs. And in UI, if you make a generic system, right, for example, if you even go ahead and add a workflow status, maybe use something like LangGraph for every series of questions. It's about adding more complexity if you want, right? For every series of questions, I will make steps in my workflow. I want this, and you could have series and parallel steps as well. So parallel steps, they could have a sequence forced upon them, they could not have a sequence forced upon them as well. But our end goal is to take user through a journey of personalized journey of asking questions. And yes, I forgot to answer as well that the depending on the context and user's answers, your set of questions may change. It's conditional question and answer system, right? That's why LangGraph may be useful for you. That let's say I'm for Godspeed, taking example of Godspeed, and solve this for Godspeed first, okay? That let's say we want to know about our users. That's one sample workflow. And now if I'm a CEO who's onboarded, you will ask me some other questions to know about me, correct? And if I'm a developer who's onboarded, you will ask some other set of questions. Now even for a developer, if I'm a noob developer, you will ask me some other set of questions. If I'm a very professional and experienced developer like yours truly here, then you will ask some other sort of questions, no? So make it very personalized, make it condition based, and maybe think of workflows, and give a sample user interface which has a chat and throws in the forms, collects the answers and saves them in the database for a given user in a given workflow. All right, thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye bye.